where did drivers sleep at the dawn of long-haul trucking? What are the first sleeper cabs have in common with vampire movies? And why did European trucks envy American rolling palaces for years? Stay with us. Today, we'll take an amazing journey through the evolution of sleeper cabs, from primitive coffin-like boxes to luxurious apartments where the concept of working from home is fully realized. The need for sleeper cabs arose in the 1930s. Trucks became more powerful. While earlier, slow-moving, chain-driven vehicles could barely crawl within city limits, now they were able to cover vast distances. The real boom began with the advent of diesel engines. In 1933, the American company Kenworth released a series of models equipped with a Cummins diesel engine producing 100 horsepower. Interstate routes appeared, lasting several days. Sleeping right on the seats, as they did in the 20s, became impossible. Radical solutions were needed. Automakers were in no hurry, so independent body shops took matters into their own hands. Their solutions were simple and frightening, straight out of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Metal or wooden boxes, only 60 by 60 centimeters in size, were attached to the back wall of the cab. They could only be accessed from the outside through a hatch. Drivers immediately nicknamed them coffin sleepers. Resting there was a total adrenaline rush, wild vibrations, freezing cold in winter, and the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. Most importantly, in the event of sudden braking or an accident, your chances of surviving in such a box were almost zero. That's why it was recommended to use them only when the truck was parked. Later on, sleeper cabins started to migrate. They were attached under the cab, under the trailer, or even inside the van. There were no standards whatsoever. Designers were actively experimenting. The sleeper compartments we're more familiar with, located behind the seats, appeared in 1929 on the Mack BG tractor, and in 1933 a historic event took place. Kenworth released the first factory truck with an integrated sleeper. It had a real bed, windows, and a safe entrance from inside. But until the mid-50s, this remained a rarity. Most drivers still squeezed onto modest 60-centimeter shelves, complaining that they literally had nowhere to put their legs. Some body shops solved this simply. They expanded the rear part of the cab. And the company Autocar even came up with the idea of attaching a sort of balcony with windows above the front pillar of the semi-trailer, where the driver was supposed to crawl in to spend the night. And what was happening in Europe at that time? The British tried to make sleeper cabs as early as 1928 on the Ford and W Wagon truck, but because of short routes and the dominance of railways, the idea never caught on. Meanwhile, on the German autobahns at the end of the 30s, the situation was different. The king of the road became the Mercedes-Benz LZ-10000 highway truck with an extended sleeper cab. After World War II, as Europe began to rebuild its infrastructure, long-haul transportation came back to life. In the 1950s, a new trend appeared in Germany: conventional trucks with sleeper compartments attached to the upper rear part of the cab. This was first implemented on the MAN 750. Because of their distinctive shape, these sleeper compartments were nicknamed fox dens. But starting in the mid-50s, European governments introduced strict limits on the total length of road trains. To avoid losing cargo space, truck manufacturers switched en masse to cab-over-engine designs. Once again, the Germans set the pace. In 1955, the Mercedes LP315 was released, which could be ordered with as many as 2 sleeping berths. Soon after, the Dutch company DAF joined in with its export-oriented 2000 series. At the beginning of the 60s, a real boom in international trade began in Western Europe. Now, routes crossed the territories of several countries and lasted for weeks. Spending so much time in cramped, rounded cabs was exhausting. A real revolution happened in 1962. DAF released the 2600 model with a new square-shaped cab. It offered drivers unprecedented space and a comfortable sleeping compartment. This model was rightfully called the mother of international long-haul transport. Mercedes followed its example with the LP1620, and Volvo with the legendary flagship F88. Everything was moving toward greater comfort, but then the oil crisis hit in the 70s. Fuel prices soared. Carriers tried to save every meter of the truck, sacrificing driver comfort. That's how narrow cabs with sleeper compartments on the roof, so-called birdhouses, made a comeback in Europe. For trucking company owners, this was profitable, but for drivers, not so much. To climb into that narrow hatch on a ladder after an exhausting shift, you practically needed acrobatic skills. Young and slim drivers could still manage it, but for older drivers or those who were overweight, squeezing into that cramped, stuffy attic was nearly impossible. That's why this two-story setup quickly died out in Europe. So what about America? In the US, they also experimented with birdhouses. Freightliner built such an add-on back in 1955. Kenworth joined in later. Drivers jokingly called their truck with the rooftop apartment the Tilted Hilton because the sleeper would sway a lot from side to side while driving. The situation changed in the mid-50s when the US government introduced strict safety standards. Now, the size of the beds, either 90 or 120 centimeters, the presence of emergency exits, and the upholstery materials were all officially regulated. Production came under the control of the factories. Tables, cabinets, comfortable mattresses, and lighting appeared. One of the most curious attempts to create an original sleeping compartment deserves special attention. In 1951, the American company Corbett released the unusual D800 truck, nicknamed the Highboy. The cab was so tall that, due to strict length restrictions for tractor trailers, the designers placed the sleeper not behind but above the roaring engine, right under the huge slanted hood. With the development of high-speed interstate highways in the US, the era of classic trucking began. Kenworth W900, Peterbilt 359, and Freightliner became icons. But a real game-changer happened in the early 80s. The US lifted restrictions on tractor length. Only the length of the trailer was limited. This became a golden age for custom body shops. Modest sleepers turned into real palaces on wheels, up to 5 meters long, a kitchen, shower, toilet, microwave, TV, climate control, and a huge bed. And over time, this trend reached absolute extremes. Today, companies like Legacy Sleepers create such gigantic custom modules that they don't just fit a bed, but a full shower cabin, a kitchen with a range hood, and even an integrated mini garage for a motorcycle right inside the tractor unit. It's real shock content for an unprepared viewer. Drivers really could say they work from home. Since then, classic long-nose trucks with huge sleeper modules have become the calling card of American highways, completely pushing out cab over models. But Europe, squeezed by strict length limits, could only envy. It was physically impossible to organize such luxury in a cab over truck. So European engineers took the only possible route, upward. In 1979, Swedish company Volvo introduced the high-roof Globetrotter cab. The high roof finally allowed the driver to stand up straight. There was now space for belongings. Over time, these cabs evolved into the luxurious XL and XXL versions. Other companies experimented as well. At the end of the 70s, MAN created the futuristic X90 concept, 3 separate modules with the sleeping area located on the 3rd level. However, the idea never made it past the exhibition stage. Renault was more successful with its Magnum model. In the 90s, it was a cab with a completely flat floor, which became the benchmark for spaciousness in Europe. However, it was Volvo's high roof concept that set the standard for all of Europe. DAF, Scania, MAN, Mercedes, all of them started building their own high cabs following this principle. While Europe and America were competing in luxury and spaciousness, a completely different, harsh reality reigned on the roads of the former USSR in the late 80s and 90s. For many older drivers, the words comfort and sleeper cab didn't even go together back then. And those same Soviet MAZ or KamAZ trucks, the sleeping area was just a narrow, hard bunk behind the seats. There was no sound insulation from the roaring engine, and drivers had to deal with drafts and cold in the winter. That was the harsh reality of long-haul trucking back then. Memories of those days still make veteran truckers nostalgic because spending the night there toughened your character just as much as the army did. Still, in 2002, Swedish company Scania decided to challenge the Americans by unveiling the Scania extended cab concept. They extended the cab by 1 meter and 30 centimeters. The bed was turned along the wall, which made it possible to squeeze in a kitchen area with a table, sink, microwave, and TV. Later, this concept evolved into the Longline series, which was custom built by coach building workshops. And starting in April 2026, Scania even launched small batch sales of factory-made long-line versions, taking advantage of updated, more lenient EU laws regarding aerodynamics and cab length. That's the journey from cramped coffin-like boxes to comfortable hotels on wheels. What does the future hold for trucks? AI-powered autopilots don't need rest, and as we know, machines never sleep. Which of these sleeper cabs impressed you the most? Maybe some of our viewers or drivers who've had to spend the night in legendary birdhouses, tough KamAZ trucks, or modern globetrotters. Share your experiences in the comments, and see you in the next videos.